Hello, my name is Amina Peffor, and today I will be speaking about the Louisiana Slave Database. Basically, the database shows how the slaves were in Louisiana, how their daily lives were, and what it describes on the races, the age, and their characteristics, and etc. From the information that I've learned from is that the percentage of the race is majority black, of course, and the percentage was 80%. However, it didn't surprise me. But in figure 1, it shows that it's the figure 1, I forgot to put that. I meant to put figure 1 is the frequencies of slaves that were sold in Louisiana. Basically, it was based on the data above. There were various dates of sales of the frequency of the slaves, which means the largest numbers were at least 45,000 slaves that were sold on January 1st, 1800. However, the lowest number of that was at 0, and the date for that of the sold was in January 1st, 1750. However, from the information, from the data based from the graph makes sense to me because for one reason, we had seen how each year that it had increased, and the biggest year that was mentioned before was in 1800, which was approximately about 4,500 slaves. Basically, the graph shows the frequencies of the slaves, database sales of slaves within the Louisiana Slave Database. On to the next topic is going to be about the frequency of the slave. The frequency of the age of slaves. So basically, in figure 2, which is right under where it's at, I forgot to put the names. I apologize. For figure 2, it basically talks about the age range. So from what I've gathered up from the information is the data shown above or below, however you see, shows that the values of the slaves, however as the number of the slaves in these age groups, and the highest number was 5, which was in the age category from 20 up to 24 age group. And in the data, what I have gathered, or we have gathered from, is that from each age group it had increased within each slave. Basically, in the age group from what we have seen in the 20 to 24, the 20 age group, is that the values are representatives of the slave, which was very interesting to me to know that by 5 slaves in the age group seemed well picked due to being able to do the manual labor per se. Next, we have the last one, figure 3, and this basically is about the percentage of the characteristics of slaves. So, from the characteristics that had the greatest percentage was at least, which is in figure 3, which was at least above 30%, which was good bon shoot. Then, another characteristic that seemed interesting to me from the data was the runaways. Runaways was at 30%. And for the least characteristic was at least by 0% was the gambler. Sorry, I apologize. From the understanding of this data, what I gathered, the most popular characteristic was the good slave. Because if the slaves had a choice of either behaving from their masters, if they followed their directions. If they didn't, the slaves would try to run away, and they would get some very, very, very awful punishments if they do try to run away or have gotten any help to run away. So, in conclusion, from what I've gathered up from my information is during slavery, I apologize. They were mentally and physically abused. However, they went through many trials and tribulations during that time period. Even though they were called by various very derogatory names, such as nigger, which was basically downgrading the slaves, they were beaten and raped the women. And by beaten, I mean like the men and women and children as well. But the women were raped and the men were beaten to really badly. Even though I didn't experience the very awful experiences as they did, I knew from previous schooling in my life that I learned about. I just knew that they were from Africa. So, in conclusion, the database was very, what's the word for it? Informative, sorry, I apologize, to me, because it gave the key points to where the slaves were doing during that time, and at a time where it was very hard for them, because I couldn't even imagine what they went through. How the information, it was interesting to know what they did and how they lived as, I guess you could say, residents, but they're more like property in Louisiana. So I thank you for watching this video. Bye.